It's been 329 days since January 20th, 2025.
329 days since the swearing in of an administration that arrived like a storm front with the lights cut out and the barometric pressure dropping by the minute.
This has been a year when a dozen eggs cost more than some people earned in an hour, when insurance premiums rose like floodwater, when wages did not.
329 days, but it feels like the kind of year that bruises the soul. The kind where the news looks like a wall of fire and every headline steals another piece of sleep. The kind where the ground beneath us feels unfamiliar, like we woke up in a country built out of shadows and forgotten promises. The kind where even hope feels like a reckless bet.
This year has laid bare the truth that the powerful never wanted to acknowledge. The government fails, the people step in. They simply remember their humanity, and humanity, when it rises, is stronger than any administration.
For all the cruelty handed down from the heights of power, it has been matched by an equal and opposite kindness exchanged between ordinary people.
People are remembering their worth, and people are remembering their power, and people are remembering that democracy does not exist in marble buildings. It exists in the hands of those who rise each morning and build a life out of whatever this country gives them.
329 days that felt like a year carved out of stone and dragged across our backs. Time has not passed this year. It has labored. It has crawled.
A year when families were asking themselves questions they never imagined asking, like how long they could keep the lights on, how many meals they could stretch out of rice, how long they could plead with the pharmacy for a refill before the system said no.
Teachers are paying for classroom supplies again and again out of their own pockets because the school budget vanished and children still needed pencils. Nurses are skipping their meals so their patients could have theirs. Workers are going on strike not for luxury, but for the dignity of being able to afford groceries and a moment's rest.
A year when people who worked every day of their lives and played by every rule were told the rules had changed and the cost of survival had increased, and if they did not like it, they could simply go without.
This year forced us to recognize the cost of indifference, the cost of silence, the cost of allowing cruelty to be normalized.
And yet, even here, something living has endured beneath the wreckage. Something small and steady, like a heartbeat you can feel in the quiet moments before dawn.
It is the certainty that human beings are not meant to live as isolated survivors of someone else's decisions. We are meant to hold each other up. And over these long months, across city blocks and farm roads and factory floors, people have done exactly that.
But while people were learning how to hold each other together, something else was quietly happening on the other side of the glass. The structure of power began to crack. Resignations trickled, then accumulated. The loudest voices grew strained. Confident pronouncements turned into panicked blame shifting.
But the real change does not begin in their undoing. It begins in our awakening. Across the country, something has shifted in the public spirit. People who spent years believing politics was a world reserved for the wealthy or the well-connected have begun to understand that survival itself is political.
The country may feel like it is splitting beneath our feet, but that does not mean collapse.
This is the quiet revolution, the one that does not announce itself with fireworks or grand speeches, but grows like roots beneath the dirt till the whole ground begins to move.
Something new is rising because something true has been remembered. We belong to each other. That is the foundation of every great American turning point. When the country has been at its worst, when corruption or violence or injustice has threatened to define us, the people themselves have pushed back the nation toward its own ideals.
Parents going without meals so their kids can eat have become advocates. College students working 2 jobs have learned the language of policy because their lives depend on it.
A government that rules by fear eventually fears its own people. That fear is visible now.
The vacuum forming in Washington is not an invitation for despair. It is an invitation for responsibility. Expectation is dangerous to the powerful. It demands accountability. It demands competence. It demands empathy. and they are running out of all three. But we are not. We are gaining them.
We have survived 329 days of darkness, but we have also built something in that darkness.
And even in places power long ignored, hope has found its footing.
Hope is not a feeling. Hope is a decision. Hope is a discipline. Hope is the refusal to believe that darkness is permanent. And so we turn to the rising light.
The next year will not be easy. Hard years rarely come one at a time, but we are no longer stumbling through the darkness unaware. And we have seen how fragile the powerful become when the public stops looking at them with reverence.
The next year belongs to us. The next year belongs to the people who have carried this country on our backs.
The powers that believe themselves eternal are cracking, and through those cracks the light is coming in. Do not be afraid of the trembling earth. That is what happens when buried things begin to move toward the surface. That is what happens when people begin to wake.
Once people understand that the price of looking away is paid by the vulnerable, the old excuses crumble.
The next year belongs to the workers, the teachers, the nurses, the farmers, the builders, the mothers, the students, the immigrants, the elders, the dreamers, the ones who have never lost sight of the dawn, even when the night was at its darkest. The next year is ours to claim.
Faith, resolve, community, courage, and those things will outlast any administration. Those things are the steel in the spine of a nation. Those things are the early light climbing the horizon.
And when the sun rises fully and we look back on these 329 days and everything that came after, we'll see not only the fear or the hunger or the losses or the headlines that tried to break us. We'll see a country that remembered itself. We will see a people who refused to bow. We will see a nation that stood up from the rubble and chose each other. And even now, the sky is beginning to lighten. Even now, the wind carries something new, and even now, the shadows are pulling back. Even now, the morning is taking shape. So rise with it. Stand with it. Walk with it. And when the world asks what happened here, let the answer be very simple. That the people woke up, the powers crumbled, and that hope, long buried, took a long, deep breath and stood. And the morning was beautiful. Defiance till death.